writers, I'm Karena Akhavein of Spalmorum, and this is NaNoWriMo Writing Break, a daily series where I give you the inspiration, motivation, and information to keep you writing and winning at NaNoWriMo this year. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe and sign up for our mailing list. Let's get started. Hey writers, it is day 3 of NaNoWriMo, November 3rd. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about characters. And why are characters so important? Because the more complex and interesting and driven your characters are, the more complex, interesting, and exciting your novel. Your plot is an expression of what your character wants and the things that they have to go through to get it. So what kind of characters do you need? At the very least, you need an antagonist and a protagonist. I actually put the antagonist first because maybe that says a lot about me, but basically the antagonist is more difficult to write maybe than your protagonist, because keep in mind that they are not all bad. So your antagonist cannot be this just purely evil person, because that's boring. And neither can your protagonist be purely good and awesome. Just think in terms of nuance. So your protagonist has goals. Maybe their goal is not so noble. Maybe they have doubts and fears that make them act in ways that are not always so honorable or cute or lovable. But there has to be something about them that makes your reader want to see what they're up to and who makes them actually care about what happens to them. Your antagonist has to be a good mirror for what your protagonist is. So it doesn't have to be too direct or too obvious, but there's something about your protagonist that is going to be mirrored and is going to be reacting to things that the antagonist is, does, and represents. So those are your two main characters. You're also going to have some secondary characters, and I think that your secondary characters, you have to be a little bit careful with them. Okay, in one way they're great because they will definitely increase your word count, but you have to keep in mind that this is not Shakespeare. You're not gonna have a running glossary of all the different characters. This is not Game of Thrones. I mean, it may be eventually, but I happen to have also quite a big list of secondary characters, but what I always try to remind myself is that each secondary character has to be unique, has to be very, subtle and nuanced, but has to drive that action forward and have a reason for being. Keep that in mind. Having your characters and your character descriptions is also a really great opportunity to remind yourself to show, don't tell. So your character can have ways of reacting to situations that are very unique to them and that express a lot more about them than if you just said, hey, Susan was anxious. If you say Susan was tearing at her cuticles, I think that that's kind of a better and more unique way of saying that she was nervous. So you see where I'm going with this. Also, you're thinking about building your characters, think about their physical description, think about their mental description, think about their backstory, which remember, you don't want to elaborate on too much right from the beginning. I mean, basically their behavior will express what their backstory is, and think about what makes them different and unique. If you want to have some good examples of characters, why don't you go people watch as a writing break and really take note of how people carry themselves, how they speak, how they dress, and their interactions with others. How do they express themselves and then kind of play off of each other in order to move the action forward in your book. I think that's all I have to say about characters. I hope it is. If you guys have anything else to say about characters, please feel free to leave comments down below. I really do love to see what you guys have been saying so far. I can address any questions or comments in future videos. Happy writing to all of you. I hope your word counts are where they should be. It's super early days, so you have a chance to make up for that at any point, so don't get discouraged so early on, and I will see you guys tomorrow.